Together, let us kindle a flame symbolizing our co-creation of sacred space at home and in this place, made sacred by years of love. As you do, those of you on Zoom, please write in the chat that a chalice is lit on your street. And here you will find a card in the pew with the unison words. Please say them with me. We are a welcoming people of diverse beliefs who commit to nourish the spirit, broaden the mind, nurture the earth, and build community. May this flame we kindle remind us to strive today and every day to love beyond belief.
Our Soul Matters theme for the month of May is creativity. So let us explore together now the meaning and promise of creativity through poetry, through story, through song, through nature, and through our own lived experiences. Poet and queen of punk, Patti Smith, she wrote, "In times of strife, we have our imagination, we have our creative impulse, which are things that are more important than material things. They are the things we should magnify." Imagination, creative impulse, creativity, those are words that used to scare me a lot because I have no discernible talents that fall into my understanding of what creativity is, or was, let me say, or was. I was not an artist, an actor, a painter, or a sculptor, not a musician, not a poet, not the queen of punk. I've learned, fortunately, that my definition was much too narrow. My definition was steeped in a kind of perfectionism and ambition. If I could not make something beautiful that was received as and recognized by others as original or artistic or really, really, really good, well, I was not creative. Without recognition by others within a particular framework of value, I was not creative. I don't know, maybe you felt that way too. Now, I recognize creativity as something more than artistic talent, and certainly more than fame or notices in the newspaper. Journalist and author Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, "The universe buries strange jewels deep within us all, and then stands back to see if we can find them. The hunt to uncover those jewels, the hunt, that's creative living." So let's take a little time to consider both those definitions. Smith, she begins with a context of strife. Strife as a precondition and a reason to release one's creativity into the world. Trouble, conflict, discord. Our world certainly meets those conditions, don't you think? And even in the fellowship, while strife is overstating things a bit, we are living with stress. As things get set to change, in the midst of constant and inevitable change, we are living with both fear and anticipation, with both a sense of loss and excitement for the new that's coming. And within this strife and stress, Smith imagines creativity as something simply there, inherent and waiting to be unleashed, something potential and ready to counter the challenging and unpleasant aspects of life. Gilbert positions this inherent potential something as jewels the universe has buried within us all, treasures we have to hunt for, and to hunt for them is to be creative. Those jewels are inherent, available to all of us, simply part of being human beings. And I find great wisdom in both of these perspectives, the potential for creativity and the creativity in living as if there is potential for creativity. Both Smith and Gilbert call us to live creatively beyond the making of artistic things, though I think we all know how very good artistic things are, how much we want them in our lives. Our human challenge, if you need, as I did, to expand your definition of creativity, is to see creativity as the ground of our human beingness. We live creatively when we problem solve, finding solutions to what needs to be fixed, whether it's in our kitchen or in our world. We live creatively when we find meaning within the sorrows that visit our lives. We live creatively when we remain open to joy. We live creatively when we see an injustice and work with others to remedy it. Creativity is the ground of our human way of moving through life. Not only are there jewels of beauty and imagination within us, but we are the jewel itself. We are made of creativity. We're not just on creativity. We are made of creativity, made of imagination, and of dreaming always more of what could be. Creativity is how we function, and that is not simply a metaphor. I think there is wisdom in both these perspectives, the potential for creativity and the creativity in living as if there is potential for it. And I think there is more to creativity and human experience than that metaphor. In order to pay more attention, to magnify the creative impulse, to seek the buried jewels, we need to remember, as Joe Harjo's beautiful poem calls us to do, a poem which inspired those beautiful illustrations in Macy's story this morning, both words and images, potential for inspiring us this morning. Harjo calls us to remember, you are all people, and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion, is growing in you. Harjo calls us to our ancestry, to our parents, calls us to remember from where we came, the earth. And she calls us to more than that. We are each other, she says. We are the universe, she says. We are motion and change, she says. And that is not just a metaphor. That call to remember puts me to mind of the story Macy read last week. Remember it? Anybody remember? Last week, we were reminded that that all leaves are the original solar panel. We could say that the human invention of solar panels is an imitation of natural processes. And there would be truth to that. And we could also say that the invented solar panel and the leaves are echoes of each other, buried jewels that are both inherent as well as creatively brought forth. For we human beings, we are not leaves, but we are nature. And it is vital to remembering human creativity that we all understand that I'm not just making a metaphor here. We are not simply like nature in that we are creative. Rather, we are imbued with creativity because we are nature. We are nature itself, and we move through reality in all the ways that all of nature does. What does that mean, and why is it important to say on a Sunday morning? In her book, The Sacred Depths of Nature, cell and evolutionary biologist Ursula Goodenough, I cannot say that name enough, Ursula Goodenough, she unfolds the scientific knowledge in ways that provide a ground for a religious understanding of life, one that understands our existence and all existence as sacred. In her book, Goodenough demonstrates our human hyper-relatedness to everything. She reminds us that there are only 5 kinds of macromolecules that collaborate to generate all forms of modern life. All forms of modern life. Only 5 in all the forms of modern life. RNA, DNA, proteins, lipids or fats, and polysaccharides or sugars. Only those 5 in all forms of life. We are always more like each other than we are different from each other. We are, all of us, more like a mouse and a bison and a leaf than we are different from those. I find that astonishing and beautiful. We can understand better, maybe, why Indigenous people refer to everything as relatives. These 5 building blocks of all forms of life, these operate along evolutionary pathways in all of us. And Goodenough quotes the father of modern evolutionary science, Charles Darwin. These are his words: "From so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved." In all the life forms, the pathways are the same. In music, so in biology, bits of the old were woven together with the new to generate the next. Evolution, that which makes the mouse, and the bison, and the leaf, it makes us too. It makes all fit and adapted to each's biological niche, a beautiful network of feedback and crosstalk to generate not only a viable cell, but the best possible cell under the circumstances. All cells, all of us, all of life, made and remade constantly by the same forces. Creativity is the ground of all being, including our being. And just a word, I'll be talking about Goodenough in another sermon coming up. I'm referring in this sermon to her chapters on biology, but she has a lovely set of chapters on geology. I can't wait to talk about rocks. Creativity is the ground of all being, including our being. And this, Goodenough calls us to remember. She says, "Now we realize that we are all connected to all creatures, not just in food chains or ecological equilibrium. We share common ancestry. This, to me, all of this, is marvelous and miraculous. How it should be that we are all connected all the way up, all the way down, all the way across. And that we means all of us in this room, all human beings, all living beings, all connected through 5 macromolecules and the evolutionary processes that enable us to fill our niche adaptively and creatively. Evolution is about adaptation and fit, not about mere survival or strength. These last are consequences of evolution, not the causes. The creative realities of evolutionary biology, the creativity inherent in the functioning of all living things, these provide a remarkable ground for a theological perspective, a way for us to live religiously. Our bodies matter. The surprising diversity of our shapes and ways of being. Our bodies matter. They link us to all bodies, so much the same and also importantly different. As Unitarian Universalists with attention to this kind of religious naturalism, we need not relegate our bodies as second fiddle to the spirit. That mind-body split that insists we are simply ghosts in the machine, that material is less sacred than the spiritual. To look at our own bodies and our own inherent creativity is to know our own inherent worth and dignity as beings, without reference to what we do or make in the world. What we do and make in the world, those are not unimportant things. Our differences are not unimportant. But like strength and survival in evolutionary terms, what each of us does or makes in the world are consequences of our sacred creativity and never causes of our worth. Our worth is inherent. Our worth is our creativity embedded deep in us. Our bodies are more than our aches and pains, and living thus, I will not discount those aches and pains. When I hear the creak and the groan of 2 trees rubbing together in the ravine outside my house, I hear the echo in my own knees and hips, in the crack of my neck as my bones stretch. There are more and different echoes for me to explore. I look out that window, not many leaves on the trees yet, and I see my own arterial system echoed in the bare branches of the trees, hollow around air, looking like the veins on the outside of my beating heart. How the ravine has taught me to look at reality, the bitter sweetness of saying goodbye to this daily view, this intention of awareness. There are more and different echoes for you as well. You can probably conjure them up right now. This act of remembering who we are, we all have access to this if we try. This co-creating of reality, this making life more vivid and connected, and ourselves too, by paying attention. Beloved poet Mary Oliver, her only repeated injunction, her only prayer is paying attention and giving thanks. All the prayer that is ever needed. Praying in this way, grateful attention constantly. This provides the understanding that situates us more a part of the natural whole. Maybe the consciousness or part of it, of the universe. That's our niche. Remembering our true interconnectedness means we not only acknowledge the full range of human experience that might not be our own, but we also allow ourselves to reverberate with the connectedness, to feel the pain, not outside us, but in us, and the joy that radiates from others into the world. Remembering our true interconnectedness enables us to experience the pain of others, keeping us humble and aware. Remembering our true interconnectedness enables us to experience the joy of others, that we might renew our flagging spirits and keep us aware, always aware and grateful. I'll read now Mary Oliver's beautiful poem, Snow Geese. May it help us know our own beauty. Each of you know your own beauty, our own inherent creativity, our inherent and vital place in the wide universe. Here are Oliver's words. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep traces, and the deep trees and the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clear blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting. Over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Spirit of life, come unto me, I pray, reminding me over and over of my place in the family of things, my place as part of nature, manifesting its creativity and wonder. Spirit of life, come unto us all, we the echoes of fire, of water, of mountain, all the echoes of nature within us and of us, a web of holy relationships. Spirit of life, creative universe, unfolding evolution, inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in the world. Creation is messy, inconvenient, and often uncooperative. Our politics, our economy, our society, they are all messy, inconvenient, and often uncooperative. What shall we do? How shall we live? I can only urge you, do not despair. Have faith in the evolutionary forces of life, calling in so many ways and voices, calling to that jewel that's in you and that is you. Will you let yourself answer? Now open your eyes. Open your eyes now. Look around. Really, seriously, look around. Open your hearts. You are surrounded by the most astounding, miraculous wonder of all, each other, community, life ongoing, caring about life ongoing. So it is, so it shall be, because we do care. Because we are creativity manifest, each of us and all of us together create the world as we wish it to be, turning the world around to make it good for all. May we move with the rhythms of peace, compassion, and justice. May we open our hearts to all of our neighbors, open our souls to a renewal of faith, open our hands to join together in the work ahead, bringing with you every ounce of creativity that you have, every ounce of creativity that you are, as you remember today and every day, that you are loved, You are worthy. You are welcome and you are needed. May you feel it so. May it be so. And may we say together, amen. As we conclude our time of worship this morning, let us make a promise that we will remain committed to sustained and robust relationship with each other, to the vision of our faith community, to the values of Unitarian Universalism, and to the interdependent web holding us all, creative all. As Sue extinguishes the sanctuary chalice, please extinguish your chalice at home and say the words with me, which are on your pew cards. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.